welcome to edition 39 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers, and as long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
Episode 39. It's a bleak one, isn't it, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm on edge, me.
So we're doing Aileen Wuornos. Was she also called the Angel of Death and the Interstate Murderer? As usual, we're doing it in Rachel's spare room. Might be a bit echoey.
I think someone's left Rachel. I think that's what's gone on. Oh, he took the Rita Ora calendar with him though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's left his clothes, but he has taken down the rest of it.
Wish him well. It was a tough Edinburgh. Show-wise, perfect. Everything else, things changed.
Oh, should we say actually, thank you for everyone who listens to the podcast who came to the show.
Yes.
To the All Killa No Fillas, but especially who came to our solo shows. There was bloody loads of you, and in many occasions on my show, you were the only goodwill in the room. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for and bringing bags as well. And I nearly burst into tears every time I saw one.
That was great, wasn't it?
Erin came to literally every show that any of us ever were possibly in.
Although, Erin, you're actually late into mine, but I'll let you off for being such a wonderful audience member.
So yeah, thank you very much. We really appreciate you guys supporting us like that.
Yeah, we do.
So Aileen Wuornos, this is we think it's going to be a 3-parter.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried there wasn't going to be enough. Don't worry, Kiri. There's absolutely fucking loads. This is, heads up, relentlessly bleak. Yeah. So this first episode is going to look at her upbringing and basically everything up to the murders. Mm-hmm. So
she was born Aileen Carol Pittman. Is that right?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I've had a tough month, mate.
Yeah, I know, all right.
Yes.
I can't believe you're going to say how tough things are for you and you're about to read out someone who was a sex worker by the age of 9. Oh, have you had a tough few months telling your ha-has?
She's born on February 29th, 1956, which makes her a leap year baby, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, they're invariably arseholes. Tell me again how you're really 7. Good God.
Come to my 7th birthday party.
I can't think of a good leap year baby.
No, I know one who's a piece of shit. we can't say too much.
No, of course we can't. Of course we can't name the piece of shit. No.
We should do that as a podcast.
Name the shit.
Name that piece of shit. I think I'll be on it quite regularly. So mother was Diane Wuornos. She was 14 years old when she married her husband, Eileen's father, Leo Dale Pittman. That he was 16 and they eloped and got married. It wasn't a very happy life because he was a petty criminal. He was very violent.
Yeah, including with her mum, Britta. So he was, her family really disapproved of the marriage. So they just fucked off and eloped over to Rochester, Michigan, which is where Aileen was. She was known as Lee, so I think, like mates, we should call her Lee, which is where Lee was born. And she had an older brother, Keith, who was born on March 14th, 1955. Now, he gets arrested, Leo, for all these petty crimes. They finally catch up with him. And they offered him a thing where because there was a draft on, they said, you can go to prison or you can join the army. So he joined the army and was sent away. And during that time, she filed for divorce. So she filed for it on June the 3rd, 1954. And then she just sort of fucks off, doesn't she? She goes to her parents' house.
Yep.
Classic.
So Keith and Lee, we call her Lee?
Yeah, I think that's...
Bezos. Keith and Lee, they end up with the grandparents. Now, she'd never met her father by this point, had she? Because he was in and out of prison.
Yeah.
Her father was actually diagnosed with schizophrenia. And he was convicted of raping a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And he hanged himself in prison.
1969.
January 30th, 1969. Cheery, isn't it?
I mean, it's just relentlessly shit so far.
It is. I mean,
I accidentally called her mum Britta.
Like a Brita filter.
But that's her grandma's name. So her biological grandma on her mother's side, that was Laurie, the guy, and then Britta was the grandma, the Wuornoses, and they adopted the kids.
Yeah.
In March 18th, 1960. So they did that classic, it's quite a northern thing, that of going to live with your parents, like grandparents, you did.
Very northern.
But it doesn't sound like, even though they legally adopted, it really doesn't sound like they wanted those 2 kids.
No, because you think, oh, that's nice, they adopted them, they must have wanted them. I don't think they did, because Laurie, the grandfather, he was an abusive alcoholic. He was physically and sexually abusive. Britta, she was an alcoholic as well. And I don't think they particularly bonded with them.
No, it's such a weird setup. So they're living in Troy, Michigan now with Laurie and Britta, but they didn't tell them, oh, we're your grandparents. They just adopted them.
Oh.
And Lee found out at 12 when someone else told her.
Bit like Bundy.
Yeah, a bit like Bundy.
Why didn't they just say we're your grandparents?
I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Maybe they were so pissed they forgot.
Yeah, because now it's on the to-do list, but you can't read your handwriting because you're so shit-faced. But it is, because now the advice is that you tell children, like, oh, you have 2 mums, or 3 or 4, depending on, it's a modern country.
4 mums?
Yeah, you come from lesbian mums.
Right.
And then you get adopted by lesbian mums. 4 mums.
Oh.
Do you get me?
I don't know. Yeah?
Or you did. I mean, statistically, I reckon it's quite low, the chances of that.
I'm sure it happens, yeah.
Takes all sorts, doesn't it?
You've got really shit about stuff like that. People can do what the fuck they want.
That's the spirit.
If they want to come into the house and take the Rita Ora calendar and everything else, totally up to them. But I think it's just you just wouldn't think that situation would happen, but I suppose it does. I mean, like, because I assume that if 2 women had a child, women are more, I think if that's stable, that's great. But I'd be very surprised if a child was taken off 2 women.
Oh, that's an interesting theory. Yeah. Sexist as shit, mate.
I know, but look, I'm past caring this past.
What you're saying is basically lesbians make great mums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah, I think so. I'd love
hiking.
Yeah,
would work.
Would work.
Always cats around. Absolutely brilliant.
Imagine it'd be very arty.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Oh God, well you see all those. So near where we live, there's a place called Hebden Bridge, which is a lesbian utopia, and that all the kids there are like sort of gender neutral. They've all got hair down to their waist and they're always playing in rivers, but they look really happy, don't they? I mean, they're going to get the shit bullied out of them when they go to anywhere.
Life's going to get hard.
That isn't a Montessori school or a fucking Steiner.
Things are going to get... I think Mickey Flanagan's kids go to one of those schools.
What, Steiner?
No,
Montessori.
Yeah, Montessori.
I think Montessori is... I think my goddaughter goes to Montessori nursery. So that's like experiential learning. It's like out in nature. And then Steiner is like, I think, someone's going to correct us now, but Steiner is like, kids will just learn when they want. You don't have to teach them how to write. They'll just do it. They'll just decide to write one day. And that's sort of true. There's quite a lot of evidence. But I think if you're a young person with additional needs, you might just need more than just like, fingers crossed one day you're going to be able to write. Because it doesn't work for all the illiterates out there, does it?
I think, saying kids will learn when they want. I mean, I'm an adult woman now, and I've never learned anything. I think...
She says sat in the bare spare room in her house.
I will never learn. It was a mutual thing. Right, let's crack on.
Anyway, so yeah, so with
Might
these...
get a date out of this.
Oh, yeah. Would you ever go on a date with someone from who listens to the podcast?
No. I don't know. No. I don't know. It'd be weird, wouldn't it?
It would be weird. Because I think I forget how overly personal we are on here.
Yeah, I know.
So it's weird when people know stuff about you. Because like when we saw some people in Edinburgh and they were like, fucking forgot that I had put out that fucking podcast or saying banging someone I think is a serial killer. So every man I'm stood next to for longer than 10 minutes.
Everyone's
like, is that a serial killer? And be like, what? What?
And now you all have a group, don't you? They've got their own group. On
Facebook. There's a private... I don't know how I feel about that. Jury's out on that one.
Source of much concern for me. Tell us what you're talking about. I don't know what I don't know.
Because we're nosy enough to want to know, but too proud to want to ask.
Yeah, it's intriguing. You're all very nice. I mean...
Well, someone said, oh, are you on it now? And I was like, oh, no, I kind of think it's disrespectful if I'm snooping around reading what you're...
Yeah.
Because it should be for you guys to talk about, oh, this one was shit, or this one was good, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for us to read.
Oh no, I don't think it'd do us any good.
No, because even if there's nice stuff, I'm going to be like, yeah, obviously.
But do you know, in Edinburgh, I mean, I don't want to brag, guys, I've got some really good reviews, but I've still not read them. I've got 2 4-star reviews, which I didn't read, but I will read 3 and below.
Oh, I'm the other way.
What's wrong with me?
I've read all the good ones for quotes, and then I haven't read any of the 3 ones. I'm like, it's not a 3-star show, so you can shove it up your pipe.
Well, that's when I always go. When I got 2 3-star ones, and I was like, "What's your fucking problem? What have you not understood in this well-crafted hour?" So I read them. There was no 2s, by the way, may I stress. But yeah, I'll always look for the negatives. Me, probably because maybe that's why this room's empty. So Keith and Aileen, Keith and Lee. They had a very close relationship, didn't they?
It's so weird. Like, so I'm drowning in documentaries of all this. She's a great one as well. That because the whole background of this is quite salacious, and she claimed towards the end in a conspiracy theory way that they deliberately made her a serial killer so they could sell the movie rights to her life. And there was quite a weird bidding war. Excuse me, hold on. Oh,
are you tired of murder?
I'm tired of your fucking attitude, mate. I'm not the only one by the looks of this bare room.
Oh, God. Any comedians that listen to this, don't ask me anything about this, because I'll fucking...
Oh, comedians are worse for it. And I've noticed the worse the comedian is doing in their career, the more likely they are to gossip about other comedians. So I've had quite a spicy romantic situation recently.
Spicy, she says.
I've had sex with an Asian man. No, I'm joking. But yeah, they've all the ones who I wouldn't book to do 20 minutes have been giving a shit about it.
Oh, everyone's sort of sticking the sneb in. I tell you, in Edinburgh, I felt hounded. I felt like Princess Diana.
Oh, fuck off.
I truly was the people's comedian during that festival. Really was.
That's the kind of thing a Scouse comedian would call their show. People's comedian.
People's comedian.
Just because they're lobbying for us to be able to use the P word again.
And Keith and Aileen. They were very close.
Do you keep singing in your head, come on, Aileen?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. It's a bit too jaunty for all this, isn't it? Anyway, right.
Great party song, though.
So Laurie is abusive physically and sexually. Britta's an alcoholic. She's abusive. And then in all the documentaries, they were like, Keith and her had a special bond. And then what they mean by that is that she was having sex with her brother Keith at the age of 9. And some local neighbour from the... boy from the neighbourhood was like, yeah, I saw them having sex, but, it's just, they're so young, they didn't understand what they're doing. Well, you definitely, that's not something you do by mistake. That's not fingers in a socket. That's...
Well...
Well, yeah, if that's all they were doing. But, everything was it was very innocent, and it's like, no, it definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't. This is a girl who's been exposed to... sex from really young
things
age.
That they shouldn't have seen.
Yeah, because one of the quotes was that she had been. So she was a sex worker at the age of 9. She was having sex in return for food and money and cigarettes. And they said that Laurie, her grandfather, had been sexually abusing her. And then one of the recounts was like, but there was no firm corroborative evidence for that. And it's like, tell you what, mate, if she's a sex worker at 9, that is your firm corroborative evidence. No 9-year-old is like, God, you know what I hate? Double maths. What I'd rather is double penetration. There's absolutely no way that a kid is making those decisions in an informed way.
I think even if a kid is smoking at 9, there's problems going on at home.
My dad used to start smoking at 9.
Really?
Yeah, which is maybe why he's 5'6".
Wow. Hey, I tell you, I'm going to quit smoking.
Of course you are.
I am. I'm going to quit smoking.
What have you tried?
What, smoke-wise?
Yeah. No, have you tried,
Cigarettes?
Hypnosis, stuff like that?
Look, I'm cold turkey, mate. If I'm going to stop, I'm going to stop. I don't go in for all this pussy nonsense.
Oh, my God. And that's why you still smoke, mate?
Yeah, well, I've quit twice. But
well, no, you haven't.
I've quit.
You've had a hiatus.
And I'll tell you, every time I started again was when an emotional crisis happened. I reached for the cigarettes. 2 years I quit last time.
My dad had the same thing.
Yeah.
His mum died, he started smoking again.
So I'm going to have a cig. But no, actually, our listeners, please encourage me with this. Because I'm going to do it. Eventually.
Would you ever do a sponsorship thing?
No, this is me we're talking about. No.
I'm just thinking about what way we can shame you into stopping.
I don't know, actually. I'll tell you what, if... what could be a good way to shame me into stopping?
What if Liam Gallagher was like, I hate women that smoke?
Is he going to stop as well?
Does he smoke?
Of course he does. He's a fucking legend, mate.
So, well, someone I know smokes but doesn't like it. Well, Will Duggan, in fact, there you go. Will Duggan, who, occasional listener and composer of the theme tune for this, smokes quite heavily, vapes every now and then, but generally smokes. He says he thinks that women who smoke are common.
Oh, he did he?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
So he doesn't like it when a woman smokes. I think it looks common.
Do you know, I mean, I'm sure Will won't mind me saying this, but, you know, Will has a recurring dream about me where we've been together for 50 years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking mad. Really?
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it?
No.
See, he loves me in his dreams even when I'm like... I mean, he likes me in the dream and he finds it quite comforting. I wonder if I'm smoking in the dream.
That's what I was thinking. Probably not if you've lived to that age. Unless you're on a nebulizer.
So
Is that part of the dream?
I hope not.
two oxygen tanks either side
I'm
as
in a
you wheeze
wheelchair
away.
in Florida.
Yeah. Watching the Royal Family on UK Gold.
So yeah, that's... I mean, if Will would like to tell us more about that dream, that would be really interesting.
Maybe he just wants to fuck you, but as an old person.
No, not me.
I've got clicky hips as it is. I've noticed since I've been sexually active again. I'm literally like, oh, hold on, I've got to wait for my hip to pop. And it's like, I'm rapidly losing my erection here.
Yeah, I'm a very cracky person.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like, you can hear it now.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, you sound like one of those articulated wooden snakes that you get from posh, like, forest parks for kids.
Either from, like, posh things or, like, a man on the street that's selling them for a quid.
Yeah,
They really do cross over all the toy outlets. So, where are we up to?
God, Jesus. So this is poor girl is clearly been exposed to sex at a young age, is having sex with her brother. So this really close relationship that everyone paints this sort of rose-tinted golden air on, but, like, they were fucking each other, and that is nad cool.
No. In 1970, when she was 14, though, she got pregnant. Now, there's debate about who the father of the child was. I mean, it doesn't matter who it was, really.
She said it was Keith.
Yeah, but she was also raped by one of her grandfather's friends, and she gave birth to a boy in a home for unwed mothers.
I fucking hate that phrase. There's so much shame that goes with it. Home for unwed mothers. Fucking, I hate that. I really hate it. There should be a home for irresponsible spunkers, and you should send that's what you should send the fucking lads who don't have to deal with any of this shit.
Well, I think I'm living in a home for unwed spinsters. Me, as my voice echoes around the room.
Do you know what this room would be lovely for up in the attic here? Just sitting in a wedding dress that you bought.
Oh God, wouldn't it just?
Have I told that on here about how I nearly bought a wedding dress?
Oh yeah, you did. I don't think you told it on here. You told me.
So I'm really sorry if I've told this before. So I basically found my dream wedding dress on eBay. Size 14, Vivienne Westwood, very nice. And it was 300 quid, which is about a tenth of what it's worth. And I was like, well, I'm going to buy that. And so I was like, oh, God, I'm so excited. I was about to buy this wedding dress. And then I'm on a WhatsApp group with all my mates who are boys, boy comedians, Will Duggan being one of them. And I went, guys, I found my wedding dress. I'm about to buy it. And they were like, stop what you're fucking doing now. And I was like, what? And they were like, if I went back to a girl's place and a wedding dress is hanging up, I would immediately leave as soon as she went to the toilet. And I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah, it's fucking insane. Don't buy a wedding dress. Because I was single at the time.
Yeah, but you'd hide it, though. You would, because you wouldn't...
It's worse to hide it, surely.
Yeah, but, you don't know... The rule is that the groom doesn't see it. So, I think... I've not got much knowledge about weddings.
No, it is, yeah.
So, they...
But the rule's also you wear white because your hymen's intact. So I'm not a stickler for those, mate.
So I'd hide it. If I had one, I'd hide it.
I think hiding is worse. Hiding it implies you know that there's something wrong with it. So I was like, well, I really want to buy it. And then the guy who in my friendship group, who's on this WhatsApp group, who I'm since boffing, was like, was the only one who was like, well, let's see it. And so I said, and he's like, it's great. Yeah, you should get it. It's really nice.
Did you buy it?
No, I didn't. And I wish I had now. And then I was talking to a friend about it, a comedian, who's saying, well, no, you should, this is like Cinderella, you should buy the dress, and whoever the guy who isn't freaked out by it. He's the one. The guy who's not terrified when he walks into your bedroom and sees a wedding dress hanging up.
And then what did you do with him? Like lock him in the cellar so he
Pop him in the cellar so he can't go anywhere. Hobble his legs.
Pop him with the others.
Yeah. Go, if you want to survive, you're going to have to eat them. And this.
This is the perfect love story, isn't it? It really, really is.
Real Mills and Boone shit, this. I don't think it's weird. So let us know if you think it's weird. Would you be freaked out if you went back to a girl or guy's house? I would be freaked out if I went back to a guy's house and there was a wedding dress hanging up.
This is for you.
I think it's just thrifty as shit. Because it was a £300 Vivienne Westwood fucking wedding dress in my size.
And if you never, you might have changed your mind about it. You could have flogged it for,
Oh yeah, that won't devalue. Wait till she dies. My Vivienne Westwood dress, I'm accumulating shit now for hers. When she dies, it's going to be worth even more. Like Alexander McQueen. Anyway, that's really grim.
So
she's also running away from home all the time.
Yeah.
Going and hiding in the woods. Her and Keith would often run away together. Dirty weekend. That's awful. I didn't mean to make that joke.
Well, it's staying in, you said it.
But can I tell you something really sad? There was a girl who remained friends with her, who was friends with her as a kid and one of her only real friends in adulthood. And she said, I was told Eileen's a prostitute and I didn't know what that meant, but I did know that she would go like round the back with guys and she would come back and she would have money and she would buy us all presents. She was quite unpopular apart from that, and she was like, I think I understand what this is. So before any of them were even like young, like they weren't old enough to comprehend what it was that she was doing, she'd sort of like buy people's affection, she'd give them food. It's just really sad.
It is very sad.
She's very, oh God, I don't know if I can say, yeah, fuck it, you won't listen. My ex-boyfriend,
which one?
His mum, who's lovely, absolutely adored her, she's brilliant, looks so much fucking like Aileen Wuornos,
really?
And that is all I could think about when I was with her. It's like, oh my God, she looks so much like her.
You imagine if he did?
If he did? Do you know what? I think he mentioned it once. I think he said, oh God, it looks a little bit like my mum. I was like, it looks a lot like your mum.
Did he? Yeah, I think.
Have you seen her? Yeah, she does, doesn't she? She looks loads like... But, like, when she's younger and a bit, like, less ravaged, yeah, she looks a lot like her.
One of our pals, I think, looks like the Yorkshire Ripper.
Really? Oh. Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I said to him the other day, did you look a bit like the Yorkshire Ripper? And he went, yeah.
Really? I can't
so,
see it. Just a beard, innit? Everyone's got a beard now.
It's the eyes, I think.
Oh, really?
And the hammer. What are you doing? Just putting some shells up? Oh, yeah. So she dropped out of school when the baby was born. And at this time, her grandmother died of liver failure.
God, it's fucking grim.
And a bit later on, you told me this, didn't it? Didn't Lee, Aileen's, it's such a weird name, didn't her mother claim that later she'd killed her?
Yeah, her biological mother. So this, by the way, people keep trying to Google this because her little boy was born March 23rd, as we said, 1971. People keep trying to Google and find out who he is and track him down, which I just think is so fucking grubby.
Leave him alone.
And that apparently is one thing she was most upset about. She was fine with giving the child up for adoption, but it's the fact that the baby was taken away. She never even held the baby. It was just like snatched, basically snatched.
It's depressing, isn't it?
It is really depressing. But yeah, so what happened was the mother, fucking alcoholic grandma, that dies of liver failure, shock horror, and then years later her biological mother, Lee's biological mother, rocks up and goes, oh, you think that was natural? She murdered her. It's like, no, she did. What, she put all that liver failure in there? What are you on about?
She poured the booze in a funnel down her neck every single day.
She's not foie gras, mate. Like, it's absolutely bonkers assertion to make. Well, and I think shows a fucking grubby little side of, like, selling stories and stuff like that.
I absolutely hate people. Like, you know when people do a kiss and tell? Or people, yes, anyone who sells a story on anybody when they become successful is a piece of shit.
I agree.
Yeah.
Unmitigated piece of shit.
Never, ever do it. Like,
I think that's the one thing I think, I don't know, would my ex do it? I don't think he would. Like, no, I don't think he would. I don't know, he's been pretty undignified on Facebook.
Part of me kind of would like somebody to sell a story on me.
Really?
Yeah. You know, brilliant in bed.
Oh yeah,
what
if
a
they
bloody
say
laugh.
Yeah, I mean, but they're not going to say that,
No,
are they?
they're not.
They're not going to be like, oh, she rocked my world. They're going to be like, oh, she likes weird. She made the fucking taxidermy watch while we were doing it. It's not going to be something like where you come off as a legend, especially as a woman.
Oh, no,
it'll be like weird stuff and like, oh, she wanted me to call her dad's name or whatever. You know, like there'll be weird stuff.
Yeah, there would be weird stuff.
I think I'm quite good in that I've not slept with anyone who would sell their story. I think that's the one thing I would say about all the lads that I've invited into me, that they're quite good morals in that respect. I mean, I'm not famous yet, but I always think back to a lad that I used to go out with, Fat Tommy, and we broke up, but we took it very badly, as anyone would. And for about a year, he wouldn't leave me alone, and I bet he's the one that would have sold a story. Oh, really?
If I was famous, yeah. I always thought, God, I bet he'd really go to town on me.
But he's doing quite well, isn't he?
Fat Tommy?
Yeah, he's a tailor,
right?
Yeah,
he's a tailor, yeah, he's doing all right.
I just think
he wasn't
like,
at the time, though.
Yeah, now he'd probably have a bit more respect for himself, because I think that's what it's about. We know someone who sold a story.
We do.
Fucking gross.
Yeah, really gross, actually.
About someone who's on Britain's Got Talent.
Well, she was clearly mentally ill as well.
Oh, she's not... she's mentally ill and learning difficulties, and he knew her, and he sold the story to, was it the Sun or someone?
Sun. Grubby.
Really grubby.
Yeah. Totally grubby. Oh, you'd be ashamed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I'd really judge anyone that sold this story.
Like, say for example, I got off with Liam Gallagher. Imagine that. I never think about it. I would never, ever sell that story. Ever.
You wouldn't need to. You'd have fucking told everyone. There's no value in it. If you're wearing it on a t-shirt, mate.
And then he took his cagoule off.
No, he kept it on. That was one of his rules.
He kept his cagoule on. And his desert boots on. God. Oh, stop it, Rachel. So, back to the depression. So, she said that she killed her, didn't she? Obviously.
Yeah, absolute shit.
Right load of old tripe.
But there was a load of this, because I just think this is so sad of her, like, being shipped around as a kid, abusive homes, her mother fucking trying to sell stories and make stuff up. It's all just grim. It seems like there's no person in her life who gives a shit about her, has ever given a shit about her. Everyone around her is just out for what they can get. It's so sad.
It's very depressing, isn't it?
Yeah. So after this...
relate to her at the moment.
Piss off. So after this, she gives birth to her son. She comes back and Laurie's like, nah, you're gone. So kicks her and Keith out and said, you are not allowed back in the house. In fact, for a while, they became wards of the court, which means that they're technically the local council basically was in charge of their welfare. So they just ran away and she fucking lived in the woods. And she was really young. She was like 15 and she's living as a girl, 15-year-old girl, on her own in the fucking woods in Michigan.
And nobody's noticing any of this. Nobody cares, do they?
It's so fucking sad. So she starts hitchhiking, petty crimes, doing sex work. She used to do it at the side of the road, not in a brothel, which is allegedly safer. So, really sad. Then, 21 years of age, Keith dies of throat cancer.
Ugh.
I mean, that's a lot of fucking cigarettes, isn't it?
Well,
which I hope isn't Eileen's fault.
It's got to be like 21 dying of throat cancer. That can't just be booze and cigs at 21. That's got to be genetic.
Yeah. No, it must be because that's such
It's too young, isn't it? I don't know, is it? Depends how much you're doing it, I suppose.
That's you'd have to come out smoking, wouldn't you?
Why is it the things that you love so much are so bad for you?
That's true. What's
booze.
good for you and is
cigs.
nice.
Really,
everything
really
in
like
moderation, though, innit? Like chocolate's all right, moderation. Red wines, it's only those two, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but a lovely pint.
Did I tell you this? I had 2 dinners yesterday. He surprised me. I went to the gym. Utterly pointless if we can have 2 dinners. And then he was like, he was going to go home, and he was there when I came back. The door was open, so I was like, oh, great, I can't wait to get raped. So I was on the phone to my agent, walked through, I was like, hold on, I'm just going to get killed. And then he was like, don't freak out, as soon as I came in. And I was like, the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, I stayed, so I was on the phone to my agent. And then he bought, basically my favourite tea. I love belly pork, Dauphinoise potatoes, wine, bits and pieces. I was like, this is great, smash this sticky toffee pudding.
Sticky toffee pudding.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. And then... So we had that, and then a little bit later, I can't remember what we were doing. We were talking about, so we were going to go to the cinema, and but the film we wanted to see wasn't on. I can't wait to see
it's
that.
not out yet.
No, I know, yeah. It
8th,
said,
I think.
I know it is the 8th, yeah. It said it was a midnight showing, so I was like so fucking excited to go, but it was jack shit. Anyway, so we're like, oh, what should we do now? Should we just go and get a film from a supermarket? How old fashioned's that? I felt like I was going back in time, buying a DVD.
You got Porky's video.
Yeah. No one in the pub to buy one from. So, oh God, what was I saying? Yeah, so then I was like, I'm a bit hungry. And he's like, should we just have 2 dinners? And it's like one of the sexiest things he's ever said to me.
What did you have?
Kiddie tea. So we had potato pops, which are just tater tots, I guess, and a like box of chicken, like fried chicken, like different type that's frozen. There's like none of this has been anywhere near a chicken's tit, but it's delicious. Nice. Yeah. And then he kicked off because there was no mayo in the house. But I know how to make chip shop curry from scratch.
Oh.
And by that I mean I can whisk water and powder together and microwave it.
So you made that and then had that?
Yeah, that was great. Doesn't that sound fair?
I'm really glad you're happy, mate. Good for you.
Oh, come on. I've put up with fucking 8 years of horse shit.
Do you know what
this.
I've had today? A packet of prawn cocktail crisps. And for clarity, it's 7:30 in the evening. That's all I've had.
Are you on the grief diet, mate? You shed a load of timber. I did.
Just, I've been busy, and then now you've mentioned food, I've just realised I'm actually hungry. I'm going to have a potato waffle and egg.
Oh, God. You and your, everything's like someone's...
Please come back.
Everything's like someone's last meal on death row. The fucking weird shit you throw together. Or you know what it's like when you're about to go on holiday for 2 weeks and you're hungry, but you've got to use what you've got in.
Oh, yeah, you just got to make a Jacob's join, somebody called that.
Oh, what?
I don't know what it means. Hey, mate, she's in Amdram. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I used to go and watch, and I used to get quite emotional and feel sad.
Because they still think they're good actors?
I don't know what it was. And some of them were very good.
No, they weren't.
Some of them might listen to this podcast, and they were very good. That's fair. And if the entertainment business was fairer, they surely would be up there. Now you had this thing, and it's like last night you bring food, and they used to refer to it as a Jacob's join. I don't know what it means. Shall I Google it now? I mean, I'm sure everyone is waiting.
I bet Jacob's join is some horrific sexual position that you didn't cotton on, that you basically went to it.
I googled.
The last thing you googled was Bryan Adams' Princess Diana. What the fuck was that about?
Well, as I told you, I felt really sad yesterday, so I watched a 2-hour documentary about Princess Diana.
Yeah, People's Princess.
I don't know why.
Queen of Hearts.
Jacob's join.
It is. It'll be a weird sex thing.
Here we go. Oh.
What
is the origin of the Jacob's join? It's used in Lancashire and Cumbria for a guest bringing a plate of food to a party.
Oh.
Potluck dinner.
Potluck dinner, yeah, I've had... Yeah.
Jacob's supper, faith supper, covered dish supper, which is what
Canadian
call
lesbians love potluck dinners. Oh my God, I'm really stiff. Yeah. That was the thing I learned from May Martin.
So there we go, it's a potluck dinner. Absolute. Do you know what? This is good listening. You people.
This is getting cut out.
No, it's not. We're keeping this in.
No
you
way.
Don't know how lucky you are.
Well, we'll cut the gaps out at least.
Right. So
she's living in the woods. She's hitchhiking, doing sex work, and quite a lot of petty crime. Keith has died
of throat cancer.
Do I know when I was growing up, my dad's boss Will, who's now no longer with us, had throat cancer, and he was meant to have one of those things that makes you. He went, I don't want to sound like a fucking Dalek. So he was like, it's terrifying. So what he did was he had the operation, but he didn't use the thing. So he used to phone up and he'd be like, oh, it's Will, and it's the scariest thing in the world. He'd be like, it's your dad.
As the rain outside hitting the window.
It's so fucking scary. But yet he wouldn't use the fucking vibrating thing because he didn't want to sound scary. And I was like, mate, it's like answering the phone to Scream.
You sound fucking scary.
Oh my God, it was so fucking awful.
Now, as to keep up with the joyfulness of
Is it not sad enough for you yet, guys? Well, strap in.
Yeah. Laurie commits suicide.
Hey.
Which isn't that sad, really. And then... she's basically, that's it. She's out on her own, isn't she?
To Florida.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah.
There's nobody around. So on May 27th, 1974, when she was 18, she was arrested in Jefferson County, Colorado, for driving under the influence, disorderly conduct, firing a .22 caliber pistol from a moving vehicle.
Legend.
I know. Apart from the drink driving, don't fucking do that. It's a cunt trick.
See, this is weird. I agree. I would never drink drive around here. But in Wales, everyone does it.
Well, don't you think sometimes, like, we go to do some gigs, like, in the middle of nowhere, and it's a pub, and there's nothing else around, and everyone's at the gig getting hammered, and the car park's full.
Yeah.
I always look at them and think, you pieces of shit, you're all drink driving, aren't you?
Yeah, in the countryside, I think it's oddly more socially acceptable because, like, you just... If you're going to knock someone down, you're probably related to them. And, like, I don't know, it's a weird thing because the roads are so quiet. And, like, I know loads of people who are like, I can just cut across my land. So they'll just, like, drive... I'm not saying I approve of it, but, like, it does happen. In the countryside, it's way more commonplace.
See, I'm very hard line on drink driving.
Oh, are you?
I think if you get in a car and you're drunk and you kill somebody, I think that should be murder. You should go to prison. You should be life sentence.
Well, it's manslaughter, isn't it?
It should be murder. You've
Don't they do
you've made
that?
you've made
Death by dangerous driving.
Yeah, but it should be. You've made the decision to get in a car drunk.
But it's not premeditated, which is murder.
It's not interesting.
It's manslaughter, isn't it?
You know when you take that chance.
Look at you.
Very strong feelings about it.
I think they've done an absolutely blinding job of making drink driving socially unacceptable. I think the next one they should start with is pay your fucking taxes. I'm about, this sounds like a humble brag, but it's because I don't save any money. I think I'm going to get absolutely shafted on tax this year, and I don't mind because pay your fucking bit.
Pay it.
Pay your fucking bit. Like, you use the NHS, you fucking... work with people, or you were educated in the state system and you're going to fucking encounter people who are educated in the state system. Your doctors are probably educated in the state system. Pay your fucking bit. I've got no time for anyone who tax dodges at all.
It's the mark of a piece of shit.
I think it is.
That's...
I've got very strong feelings about that. I declare every fucking £20 gig. I literally am like the most... I can't wait to be audited. I'll probably find out that they fucking owe me money. Like, honestly, I declare everything.
I mean, the reason I'm staying so silent on this subject is because I find it crass to talk about money.
Oh, really?
Just joking. Listen, I'm
not talking about
with money.
specific amounts.
I'm rubbish with money. In fact, I was talking about this yesterday. I'm absolutely terrible with it. If you give me money, I will just spend it.
Well, she was like this. She got given a load of money, but that's a mark of a poor person. I think, like, footballers and rappers, they go bankrupt all the time. There are more money than you and I will see in our lifetime, but they don't. Money meant nothing to them when they didn't have any, and it doesn't mean anything to them when they suddenly have loads. Yeah. So they go bankrupt.
Yeah. So don't give me any money. Actually, do
Mate,
please.
I would never give you any money.
Good.
Shit, you messaged me about that earlier.
What about money?
Yeah.
I wasn't begging for money, mate.
We can cut it out either way.
It was so you lot can have colouring books, all right. Anyway, 1976, she hitchhiked to Florida. Have you been to Florida?
No. I'm obsessed with Florida, though. I mean, to me, it seems awful because it's humid and full of crocodiles. But...
Alligators.
Oh, alligators, I do apologise, yeah.
Is it alligators?
Yeah, it is alligators, yeah. There's this whole thing, do you know about Florida Man? So, I think it's because of the heat. But people go fucking mad in Florida, and it's always like, Florida Man is usually caught sticking his penis in a plant pot and then kicking an alligator in the head. Like, there's always, like, there's even, like, I think a Twitter handle for it, at Florida Man, and it's all these stories about Florida Man and and it sounds like it's one guy just having one hell of a 3 years, but it's a trope now of, in, like, Florida Man caught doing this. Florida Man, I found one that was like, gets ran over by a van after the dog presses the accelerator in it. Like, it's all just mad stuff.
Because of the heat.
Yeah, well, they never say it's because of the heat, but it's like Florida Man is a thing.
I've been to Florida. Quite enjoyed it. And Miami, though, I'll tell you what, disappointing.
What were you hoping for? Will Smith?
I don't know what I was hoping for, but I was really excited. And we went
Beach,
tonight.
surely.
Well, we went at night, yeah.
So you went at night?
Yeah, we were like, we'll go for a drink. We'll go out in Miami. Proper have it. Disappointed. Just
really?
Music was too loud. Everyone wasn't what I anticipated. I was just really disappointed.
It just sounds like you didn't want a night out.
Oh no, we did. We really wanted a night out. But just didn't didn't work out. I saw where Gianni Versace got shot though.
Oh, well, all the hot
So,
spots.
you know.
Yeah, sure. It doesn't
also
sound
tried-
like you were prime for a night out, if I'm completely honest, mate.
I also tried. I went on this boat, like on the swamps.
At night? What the fuck is going
This was
on?
during the day. This was the
Right.
day entertainment, and I ate alligator, and it was the most fucking disgusting thing.
Oh, I
for
love it.
someone who only eats 3 items of food, I was forced to eat it, and it was absolutely disgusting.
Crocodile's what I've had, and it's what I'd say it's my favourite meat. It's like chicken, but fishy. It's so fit. But I won't eat it because I've got a rule about eating things that can live as long as you.
Ugh.
I won't do it. Won't eat lobsters because some of them are like 80 years old as well. I think it's fucking gross to eat anything that is old enough to gamble legally. I just think it's rotten.
No, I just couldn't.
In America, I mean, not in the UK.
Also, frog's legs, the feathers. I was like, I'm out now. I said I can't do it anymore.
They're quite chickeny.
Just not eating it.
It's just weird.
Sinews on it. Anyway, I feel ill now. I don't want my waffle anymore. So
Just have the air gay.
So she moved to Florida in 1976. She met 69-year-old yacht club president Louis Granz. Now,
I've got Lewis Fell.
Louis Granz fell.
There we go. She's only 20, and they just got married.
But this sounds like if you wrote this as like a Catherine Cookson, as my gran used to say, if you wrote this as like some romantic story of somebody who had a terrible life and then meets the president, you'd be like, this is far-fetched.
Yeah, no, it is a
Thinking
bit
this is too
far-fetched.
much.
Yeah, so she gets married in 1976, and it's such a big deal. He's so high up as this yacht club president that it's printed in the society pages of the paper, which I think are fucking gross. I hate those things. Look which rich cunt's marrying which other rich cunt. I hate it.
A friend of ours who listens to this podcast, she actually told me the other day that she said someone she knew got married. I think it was her ex-partner, and went to the wedding. How modern's that? And the cake was cut with the family sword.
Well, I hope they shoved up their ass afterwards because that's abysmal.
The family sword.
I want to get, if I get married or if I get engaged, I'm going to announce it, but in like loot, like the classified ads, underneath an old foot spa and a Ford Cortina. That's where I want mine to be announced. I just think it's gross. I think it's a gauche display of wealth to go, look, our influential families are uniting. Like, it's a power move. It's disgusting.
It's like getting 2 pedigree dogs and breeding them, isn't it?
Yeah, and they end up with inbred mad things with fins.
It's such a weird. It's tacky, actually, isn't it? Really, to do that.
It's the upper class equivalent of daubing in emulsion "Happy 50th Julie" on a bedsheet and tying it to the fucking fence
To the
at bottom of-
roundabout.
Yeah, to the roundabout.
Near Sainsbury's.
Do they do that in America? So over here, what'll
They
happen
must
is
do.
in rough areas, when it's someone's birthday, someone will like write in paint on a massive bedsheet, isn't it? A white bedsheet. It says like "Happy birthday, Julie," and it'll be like 60th or whatever.
And it'll remain there for about 6 months.
Yeah, Julie will be dead by the time that comes down. It's just tatters, which is more of an insult, actually. But I don't know if they do that in America, but it's quite a big thing in rough areas of Britain, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a thing. There was one down down the road from us the other week, and it was Happy 11th birthday Jamie or something.
Where I'm from, there's like, in Bangor, where I went to school, my brother lived in Maesgerchen, and it's like it's a big estate. It's this shithole estate. And it's on the top of a hill, so you drop down and then you get to a junction at the bottom of the hill. And that was always, opposite that junction was always where you would see a bedsheet with a birthday on. Nowhere else in the area, but just always on the bottom of Maesty Hill.
I quite like the ones that you used to see. I've not seen one for years. That used to be like, like Sandra, I'm sorry. Those ones,
Really?
the good ones. Oh,
Marry me.
the marriage proposal ones. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
The
Actually, I quite like that. It's quite old school.
yeah, I'd quite like if somebody ever asked me to marry him. I don't know how I'd feel about the whole experience. I'd probably feel like I'd like to say no,
Really?
just to be awkward.
I like a grand gesture, though, but I wouldn't want... We know someone who was asked in front of a load of people.
Who?
Not me, fuck's sakes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Jesus Christ.
And I think they would have said no if they were asked on the DL. But you've
Yeah.
got to be so sure with that stuff.
Just buy me a burger and ask me. I'd say, yeah, all right then.
Depends what the burger was.
So it's got a hash brown on it.
Oh, hello, yeah. I'll do whatever you want for that.
Now, she wasn't very nice to Lewis.
No.
She used to hit him. She used to kick his cane from under him.
She beat him. She beat the shit out of him with his own cane. So you're right. It's like a Catherine Cookson book, except that there's no fucking chapter where the bride snatches the fucking groom's cane and beats the shit out of him. So she was getting into bar brawls. She was jailed for assault, and he was like, "Oh my God, what have I married?" I don't know what he thought he was marrying before, but she's like, I really feel for her because she's like one of those. You know, you can't take children off the street if they've lived on the street too long. This is the theory that they have in Romania with a lot of the street kids.
Is that when they become those little, like the post boys outside of the post shops? Do you know what I mean? With the little ring.
But they can't be integrated without upsetting the other children in the orphanage. So they just leave these kids on the streets. And I kind of feel like she has been so feral and so unloved that even when she had someone love her, she didn't know what to do with it. I think it's so sad. So he had it annulled, this marriage, after 9 weeks.
Oh, God.
Like Britney Spears.
She does, however, she inherits Keith's life insurance at this point, $10,000.
Yeah.
And she used it to pay a $105 fine for drink driving. She also used it to buy a new car, which she wrecked pretty much a few days later.
Jesus.
She spent the remainder of the money in 2 months. That's me.
Yeah.
I do.
My friend, I think I might have told this before. My friend Will, when we were younger, we were like 17. We all passed our driving tests. He bought a brand new car because he was like, "It's an investment. I'll pay it off every month." And he's a very safe driver. I want to add this, but a bee flew into the car when he was in it, and he totaled his car.
Really?
And he was paying off for 3 years. So like, imagine 2 months into a brand new car, you're still paying off 3 years later because you totaled it.
You'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, I was saying I was terrible with money, actually, just reminded me. My friend Martin, I don't know if I told you this, he ran up a credit card and his mum was really upset. Like, she's like, "Martin, if you don't pay your credit card, you're going to go to prison." And he was like, "Mum, they don't send rapists to prison anymore. I'm not going because I've not paid me back."
Which reminds me, I'm off out tonight. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Now, in 1981, she commits armed robbery. She steals $35 and 2 packs of cigs.
Come on,
She's
mate.
pretty much all I've got now. She also forged checks. She stole a revolver. In 1986, she was arrested for car theft. She was using false ID in her aunt's name.
But she was in prison after the armed robbery in 81, and she was released in June 83. But then that's when, you're right, the crimes just get more and more frequent. They're stealing the revolver. They've searched her car. After being in a car accident, they found a .22 pistol hidden in the car. So then 86, car theft, showing false ID, resisting arrest. She threatened a male companion she was with a gun. It's just all kicking off.
Such a weird description, male companion, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that my mum would say about, like, "Are you bringing a male companion for Christmas?"
This is my male companion.
On a cruise. My neighbour, if I told you this, so Dave, my neighbour, but one, he is an old guy he's just such a miserable cunt. And he, like, I fucking hate him. And he, like, will knock on my door all the time, like, "Are you parked here?" I'm like, "No, I haven't parked outside my own house, but it would be fine if I had." And, like, I just don't take his shit anymore. And he's got this sort of, like, he had a wife who passed away, and then he has a lady companion who just looks like a miserable shit as well. Never spoken to her. And he insists that, like, my dog can't piss on lampposts. He's like, "You should train them to go in the grid, on the grill." I was like, "You can't do that, mate. Back off." Anyway, so is this woman. So I met him in the Ginnell the other day. I was putting the recycling out, and he went, "Oh, I'm on my own." I said, "All right, where is she?" And he went, "She's fucked off, hasn't she?" I went, "What's happened?" And they've been together 20 years, right?
Is she gone with him? Is that what's happened? Are we piecing this jigsaw together? Is that why I've got an empty room here now?
What happened was, she got an inheritance from her brother passing away, who lived in Canada. She went over there to see them all after it happened, and she'd been there for 6 weeks. She's meant to be away for a week. And he went, "Are you coming back?" And she went, "No." And he went, "Why?" And she went, "I don't love you, and I never have, and I just don't want to be around you anymore."
Fair play.
And he was like, "Well, who's going to look after me? Who's going to cook my food?" And she was like, "I don't care." So she just... And he was
I
like,
hope you never eat again.
yeah, literally. And he was like, unbelievable, the fucking cheek of her, and I let her live here. I didn't charge her any rent to live here. All she had to do was clean the house and cook my meals. And then her godson's writing to her saying, thank you so much, because she used to send him money. The only reason she could send him that money is because I wasn't charging her rent. And I wanted to be like, you're a fucking living slave. And she said, Cinders has had a bit of money and fucked off, unsurprisingly. What? But like and he was literally telling me this, and like, oh, I can't look after myself. I need to find another woman. And then he was like, you're on your own now, aren't you? And I was like, is this really happening? Is my 80-year-old neighbour proposing that I suck his old widge and clean his house just because I've kicked out a cheating ex-boyfriend? Like, I'm not that fucking hard on my luck.
Oh, God. So did you?
Yeah, I mean, sure, I sucked it, mate. It's a nice house. I don't mind hoovering a nice house.
Is he managed to find anyone?
I've yet to see him with anyone. Oh, it kicked off over I didn't tell you this. So that we had lying in bed doing some work, and I heard this fucking poof poof outside. Right, everyone's out on the street because they're all nosy cunts. He's out there. I came out like 10 minutes later. Clearly, someone had hit one of the cars. It could have been mine. I just didn't even look. I didn't give a shit. So we went outside to go to the supermarket. Everyone is out in their slippers and dressing gown on the street, and he's going, did you see anything? Like, I'm bleary-eyed. I haven't moved out of the house. I was like, no, I heard something. And he went, it's bloody cuffed my car. I've just paid £250 on it. There was the tiniest scratch on it. Opposite his car, though, the woman's car has been totaled. He drove straight into it, and he's going, it's bloody cuffed my car. The girl's in tears on the pavement. She's like, I do not have a car to work. And he's fucking moaning about a little scratch. He's a piece of shit, that man.
Hey, that might have been the perfect solution. She could go and live with him now.
Oh, yeah.
You can get her a car.
I mean, she seems desperate enough to.
It's weird round here, isn't it?
It is a bit weird. It's a bit, I'm trying to think of the English word. It's a bit old-fashioned.
It is. It's a bit old-fashioned, yeah, I think.
There's some quite strong gender roles still operating.
I think so, yeah.
Because quite a lot of, is this racist? But like quite a lot of...
she had to ask the question before she says it. Let's find out.
Well, quite a lot of the Polish families that I know around here, they have quite traditional gender roles in that, like, they're also quite strict Catholics. I notice that they mainly the people who go to the church, but like the women have quite traditional roles in what they would do.
What's my role now?
Spinster.
I think it is, mate.
Bumbling around a 3-storey house on your own.
Do you hear that 3-storey house? Not all bad. So, it's a question of male companion. And then she meets Tyria Moore, doesn't she?
This is where her life changes. I would say... Well, actually, it's been on a road to nothing so far. But this is probably her most significant relationship, which is not saying much because the one before that was her older brother who was dead at 21 and was sticking it to her at 9. So this is where she meets Tyria Moore, who she falls absolutely in love with.
She meets her in a Daytona Beach gay bar as well.
Which sounds fucking cool.
Sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, she was working as a housemaid, wasn't she, in a local hotel, and Lee used to supplement their income with her sex work. And do we leave it there?
I think we should leave it there.
What a cliffhanger.
Oh, what happens next?
Ding, 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 ding.
So that's the first part.
Anything else we need to tell them? Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Just be nice on that group, yeah. Don't be chatting shit.
Actually, someone said an amazing thing. Like, someone sent us a screen grab. 2 people, actually. The person who wrote it and someone else who set up the group when I thought you'd like to see this. And it was that thing about how Sharon Needles said he saw her live, and the amazing Sharon Needles from RuPaul's Drag Race said that she listens to All Killa No Filla. And it was one of the happiest days of my life.
That's amazing. You know what, right? If you're a famous person and you listen to this podcast, can you let us know? Because
how many unlikable cunts are going to be like, yes, I listen, and they're like, mate, I've got more Twitter followers than you, and I'm not famous.
I'm intrigued. If you are in the public eye, or some sort of celeb, I want to know.
Yeah, you're always like, who do you reckon, who's famous listens to this?
I'd like to know.
I think Sharon Needles is the most famous person.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
But you never know, there might be someone else.
What, you think De Niro's shuffling around his mansion listening to this?
You don't know. He could be just shuffling around now and he'd be like, thank you, ladies.
That was a appalling impression.
Well,
I'd say that's more racist than my stuff about Polish people.
I'm tired, leave me alone.
Rachel's had a hard time, but she's, dusted herself off to do this podcast.
I have.
So
I'm all right, thanks for asking.
We're going to try and release one every week for the next few weeks, and then have a little think about who you want us to do after Aileen Wuornos.
Because we've been here at Christmas then.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe it's nearly a year since the Fred and Rose 3-parter?
Unbelievable.
I know.
People still talk about it as well. It's taken us a year to fucking mentally recover from all that. But this one gets grimmer and grimmer, so strap in for it. You've been wonderful. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.